This is Stingray, host of The Stingray Show, reminding you if you like our content and you like our episodes, wherever you are listening to this from, whether it be YouTube or on Spotify, make sure you subscribe to our content for all of the latest information and latest episodes. And without further ado, here is another great episode, so enjoy and continue listening. The Stingray Show is about to take you back in time on this edition, back to 2001 through 2004, and talk with an LSU quarterback who is a two-time SEC champion, a BCS national champion, and he passed for 3,000 yards and 18 touchdowns. Marcus Randall will join us on this edition of the Stingray Show right here on Tide 100.9.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out. You're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate
that.
No,
I mean, look, no.
Hey, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, I want to welcome you inside yet another edition of the Stingray Show. And like I said, off the top, I have a very special guest who also not only played at LSU, but was a part and the quarterback of one of the most incredible plays, not only in LSU history, but in SEC history. He was a part of the Bluegrass Miracle, and we will definitely talk with him about that. He played in 34 career games at LSU and is a two-time SEC champion in 2001 and in 2003, and a BCS national champion in 2003, and he played under head coach Nick Saban at LSU, Mr. Marcus Randall. Marcus, how are things with you?
What's up, Steven, man? Everything's great right now, man. You just took me a little bit down memory lane already. I know we're going to go a little further. But, man, everything's good right now. I'm actually just getting back in town from Houston from a 7-on-7 tournament that we had out there. But, man, life been great. Life been great.
So tell us a little bit about that 7-on-7 tournament.
Well, since I've been back, since I finished playing, and I've been back in Baton Rouge, this is where I've been since I finished playing, where I was born and raised, and I wanted to start something. So in 2016, I started Randall Passing Academy, where I bring guys in from 10 years old all the way up to high school, and we go over the passing concepts of football on the offense and the defensive side of it. And we travel all around, and we also use it as a mentorship, to be able to mentor guys through football, and then, being able to take them to certain tournaments and stuff like that. So, man, and along with the coaching, that's what we've been doing. So we had our 18U team was able to get down there and go number one in their pool, and then we ended up getting knocked out in the finals there.
Gotcha. So, Marcus, When you were coming up as a young kid, who was some of your idols that you molded your game like?
I'll say John Elway, Dan Marino. That was some of the guys who I kind of looked at. That was Dan Marino for sure. He was one of the guys first that was in the shotgun that they were letting throw the ball around before it got popular to throw the ball around in all of the spread right now. Warren Moon, he was another one of those guys. Randall Cunningham. So I kind of took a little bit from all those guys. And then I got a chance to watch Steve Ab McNair because he actually played against my brother back in college when he was at Alcorn. They battled it out every year as one of the best quarterbacks in the SWAC during that time. So I like what he did too as well. So a mixture of guys that I kind of tried to take a little bit from.
So Marcus, when did you know that you could be really good at football?
Well, I was brought up around the game. My dad actually started the youth program in my neighborhood. So I was always around sports. I mean, it wasn't just football; it was basketball. And then once basketball was over, it was getting close to the summer. It was baseball. So I knew at a very early age that I was good at sports. And then I was always around the game. And then actually watching my brother, who's 8 years older than me, go through the Wranglers and then be able to go through things and seeing the things he was going through as a top quarterback around the area. And I knew it was in my pedigree. I knew sports would be a part of my life.
So Marcus, during high school, you played shortstop and center field in baseball as well as football. What made you decide to give up baseball for football?
Well, I was getting more offers in football. I only had a couple offers in baseball, but I had been playing it since I was young. So I knew football would be the way. So especially after my junior year, and I started getting letters and started getting coaches calling, and at that point I knew I didn't stop playing baseball until I finished high school. But I did know at that point that I would be going on to play football in college.
So Marcus, who all was recruiting you to play football?
I just gave my top five. I had letters from everywhere though. I remember going to a camp, and this was before a whole bunch of camps got big. I went to a camp at Rice University, going into my senior year, and Nike was making this magazine that they were putting out, and they were like the best of the rest. So it was a lot of guys that were kind of unknown, but they kind of put on the big platform. That was before all the social media, all the stuff that you could do now, obviously. But man, I started getting a whole bunch of interest, a whole bunch of people. Now I didn't start playing quarterback in high school till my junior year. Gotcha. So after my junior year, I made all district, I was all state, and that's when I started getting a lot of interest. So Auburn, that was one of my top schools at the time. Louisiana Tech, they had Tim Rattay at the time. They were throwing it pretty much every down. Yeah, Louisiana Tech, Southern Miss, SMU, Florida. I had a lot of schools that recruit me.
Yes. So Marcus, what was it like for you the first time that you met Coach Nick Saban, who was coaching at the time for LSU?
So this was around the beginning of December, pretty much when he first was hired at LSU. Because at that time we had Coach Jerry Donato. He was the head coach. I took a couple of visits there. I went to a game versus Florida. I kind of didn't get the vibe. Maybe he already knew he was out the door or whatever, but I didn't really get the vibe I was looking for. So at that point, LSU wasn't in my top five going into December, pretty much. And then Coach Nick Saban came. They signed Coach Nick Saban. And I remember after one of my basketball games, because I was actually still playing basketball my senior year, my brother and my mom walked up to me and was, the game just ended. And they were like, look, I know the game just ended, but we wanted to talk to you. We had some guys come by the house from LSU. They knew coach in town. It was Coach Jimbo Fisher and it was Coach Sam Nader. They ended up coming there and speaking to my mom, my brother. I wasn't even there. And they were saying, I know we already kind of had a top five, but we definitely may need to hear them out. I liked the things they were talking about. So I ended up going up there on an unofficial visit, meeting Coach Nick Saban and the rest of the staff. And they jumped in that top five quick.
So Marcus, Who was your number two? If you weren't going to go to LSU, who do you feel like you would have gone and played for?
So before the LSU, I had to narrow it down to three at that time. It was Auburn, it was Louisiana Tech, and it was Southern Miss.
Gotcha.
And I remember right before my visit to LSU, I remember Coach Tuberville calling me and basically saying, "Look, man, we're gonna take a quarterback in this class, and it's down to three guys. It was me, Jason Campbell, and there was one other guy. And they were saying we're gonna take the first one that commits. That's who we're gonna go with."
Mhm.
So I ended up, after I added them into my top five, and I took the visit to LSU. That was the same weekend Jason Campbell went to Auburn, and he committed that weekend. So I kind of knew at that time I was going to LSU.
Gotcha. And what was it like going to Southern Miss? I mean, because Southern Miss was a juggernaut about that time.
Correct. They were big on my list. So my coach, Coach Nolan Gill, he actually, that was a school he was big on, and he actually went to, and he played at, and that's where his son was playing at too at the time. So I had a good relationship with the coaching staff there. And I think they were, like I said, they were up there, but right before signing day, they ended up changing their whole coaching staff.
Yes.
Right before that, yeah, they ended up changing their whole coaching staff. So they started still sending guys down to talk to me, but it wasn't the same feeling that I was getting by the guys that were previously there.
So, Marcus, we are up against our first break, and when we come back, I'm going to dive with you into your playing career at LSU. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. Marcus Randall will continue with me right after this. It's coming up on dinner time, and how does a boneless smoked chicken breast sound? Or maybe even a smoked wing plate? Or cheesesteak fries? This is what you will find and a whole lot more at the Coker Market, located in Coker, Alabama, at the four-way intersection right off of County Road 140. Now, the owner, Jamie, went to culinary school, so he knows what he is doing when it comes to food at the Coker Market. Their hours of operation are Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m., and they are closed Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Go by there today and see Jamie and all of the staff and get some amazing food at the Coker Market. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. My guest this evening is Marcus Randall, the former quarterback at LSU, who is a BCS national champion in 2003 and also a two-time SEC champion. And before the break, we were talking about your recruitment. Marcus, your first game action came in 2001 versus in-state school Tulane. What do you remember most about your first game in an LSU uniform against the Green Wave?
Oh, well, man, it was big. I knew I was going into it, I knew I had a chance of getting into the game, and this was going to be a big thing for me because, being able to go in Tiger Stadium, actually getting on the field, this was going to be a chance to get a chance to go out there and to be able to actually, get some snaps. I was the second string quarterback. Rohan Davis was actually the starter. And man, it was unbelievable getting out there. It kind of felt like it was a dream come true. Pretty much, that's what it was. Getting out there and being able to play, being able to get out there with the guys. We already had the game in hand, so it really wasn't any pressure on me. So man, just being able to get out there and just play football.
So Marcus, I always like to ask former players this question. What was your welcome to the SEC moment?
I would say probably in the 2002, really. 2002, after I got my first start against South Carolina.
Right.
That was pretty much, because that was the game where I had to be able to come in and from start to finish,
Yes.
and be able to, take control of the team, take control of the offense, And good thing it was at home, but you still, man, that the crowd could get so loud that I'm calling out their cadence, and I can't even hear myself, so I don't even know how everybody else hearing me. So I
Right.
said, okay, this is SEC football.
So let's go briefly back to your first season at LSU. LSU won the SEC championship against Tennessee. Talk about that experience of going to the SEC championship and winning it in your first season.
That was like a dream come true. 'Cause like you say, I grew up here, in Baton Rouge, watching LSU and just seeing the year that they was coming off of previous to that, during that Jerry Donato era, especially those last 3 or 4 years, man, having the talent that we had with the Kevin Falks, the Rondell Mealy's, all those guys that played, and we just wasn't winning. So being able to go in and be a part of bringing that winning tradition back and being able to go in against a Tennessee that was heavily ranked with all kind of guys, they end up going to the next level with Big Albert Haynesworth in the middle. Man, I can go on with all the guys they had over there on that team, and we were picked to lose. But being able to go in and bringing that trophy back to Baton Rouge and being from here, it was like no other. It was what I went there for.
So, Marcus, let's talk about the spring game the next year. Unfortunately for you, in that game, you tear your ACL. However, you rehab throughout the summer and you are ready to go by August and fall camp. How were you able to come back from that ACL tear so soon?
Oh man, hard work, and I gotta thank all the doctors and the medical staff that we had, Jack Marucci and Miss Shelley, and all those guys in the training room. They did a great job of helping me rehab and get back up to it. So at the time, this is when they were first starting to experiment with the hamstring tendon on using that on ACL versus the patella tendon. So that was when Nick Saban came in. He was telling me that was the procedure that we're going to go with. It was going to help with the tendonitis, and if I done everything I was supposed to do, then I could make a speedy recovery. Nobody saw it going that fast though. Nobody saw it going as fast as it went. But like I say, with the training staff that we had there and being able to work diligent with them and doing everything I was supposed to do, everything they were asking me to do, I was doing it. And being able to battle back, and like you said, and being back for game one, that was almost unbelievable. And a lot of people, I've seen Dr. Bankston do a lot of seminars on that surgery, since he's been, still doing his line of work.
So, how did the tear occur in the spring game? Did someone tackle you, or was it just a fluke injury?
Well, it actually happened on a series prior. I took off running with it, and I kind of made a plant on a guy, and I kind of felt it give at that time. I couldn't really feel exactly what it was. I had never felt a tear, but I don't think it was all the way toward that time. I just feel it. I felt it give. I went to the sideline. The doctors did the test on it, and they basically said that they didn't feel where anything was off. So, I talked to Coach Fisher, and I said I was going to go back out the next series, and I ended up going back out the next series and was dropping back, and then I planned to throw one deep to Michael Clayton, and I just feel it all the way gave out on me, and so I guess it must have been partially torn when I felt it at first, and then after going back out, I actually felt it. So it was actually nobody really touched me.
Man, I bet that when it gave way, I bet that had to be excruciating pain.
Yeah, it was excruciating pain, but I think just the knowing that that I was injured the way I was injured was even more hurtful at the time. I remember going to the sideline and the doctors checking in, was like, "Oh yeah, oh, coach, he's done." Now me at the time, I'm thinking done for my career, or done. But obviously I'm talking about for the season. But at the time, I was like, "Oh man." All the work that we put in, all the battling I was doing right there, getting ready and getting prepared for the season, and boom, right here at the end of spring game, it all, kind of came to an end for me.
So, Marcus, to start off the 2002 season, LSU started that season on the road at a rowdy Virginia Tech team in Blacksburg. What was that experience like of playing in Blacksburg, Virginia against that electric crowd?
Oh, it was hyped up. It was actually a daytime game though. Okay. So we actually played them during the daytime, so it wasn't that normal nighttime crowd that you get. But it was still hostile. So we were going in. They were coming off a roll. Michael Vick had just left not too long ago, so they were still riding the high out there. And they ended up beating us. They ended up getting us, man. I thought we had a good game plan going in, but execution wise and just some things just didn't go our way. And again, you're playing in a hostile stadium now.
Yes. So you talked about it briefly in the first segment. During the remainder of that season, Matt Mauck goes down with a season-ending injury in the Florida game. You were named the starter the very next week versus South Carolina. Talk about what it was like all week preparing for your first start as a sophomore.
Oh man, it was kind of up and down. It was the first time, so not knowing what the feeling was going to be like. Again, I had rehabbed all summer to be able to come back and be ready for this season, and was ready. So being able to get that start and being able to go out there and do it at home with all the guys. Again, I was amped up. I was ready to go, and I think all the guys they rallied around me real well that week.
And so, what are some memorable moments that you remember for your first start?
Definitely scoring. Definitely scoring. We ran an option play. Defensive end jumped out to the running back. I think it was either Dominique Davis or Tofield at the time. And I remember making the fake pitch to get him to go a little bit wider, and it just opened up, man. That thing opened up like the Red Sea. And I remember running through, and man, I just feeling like I must be dreaming. I'm about to actually score a touchdown right here in the game right now. So in front of our student section too as well. It was right there. It was just that made everything worth, everything I did, going to LSU at that time. I was like, okay, this is what I came for right here. Scoring and being able to be here in this moment in my first start. It was a feeling like no other.
So, Marcus, we are up against yet another break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you about what you are known for, and that is the Bluegrass Miracle play. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. Marcus Randall will talk about the Bluegrass Miracle with me right after this. Are you looking for a traditional banking experience with a banker who calls you by name? Then we invite you to get to know our friends at Bryant Bank. Bryant Bank customers enjoy online banking accessible around the clock to give you the freedom and flexibility to bank your way, all backed by the people you know and trust. Get to know your Bryant banker at one of the 4 Tuscaloosa locations today. Bryant Bank, an equal housing lender, and as always, a member of the FDIC.
Randall, as time expires, lets it fly. Oh my goodness! Touchdown LSU! They win the game! Improbable! Unbelievable! Sequence of events. LSU will go home with the victory.
Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. My guest this evening is Marcus Randall from LSU, and everybody will remember the name Marcus Randall because he was the quarterback on the play versus Kentucky up there in Lexington when LSU hit the game-winning walk-off Hail Mary, which is known as the Bluegrass Miracle. if you would, Marcus, before we get to that play, walk us through the game going up to that play, because that was an all-time classic between LSU and Kentucky.
Well, going in, I just started from the beginning. Going in, we was picked to win. We was pretty much on a roll at that time during the season. Again, we had just come out big Florida wins, South Carolina at home that we just spoke about. So, going into the Kentucky, everybody kind of pretty much had us as the favorites to win that game. And if you go back and look at it, it was a back and forth game, but going into halftime, we felt like we pretty much had the game in hand. Ending that 2-minute drive with a touchdown right there at the end. I threw a corner out to Devery Henderson. He caught it right there right before the halftime. So going in, man, we feel real, real good about where we were in the game. And coming back out after halftime, though, it's like my guy, Hefty Lefty, Jared Lorenzen, man, rest in peace. And man, he came out and he started dropping some dimes in there, and it looked like Boone and all those guys at wide receiver. They couldn't miss him. And they were making some big plays. And then they made that last one right at the end. He made a catch on for 2 our guys, I think, Randall Blue Gay and another one, just in the end zone. And they took the lead. I think we was all pretty much in shock at that point. Like we didn't pretty much let one slip away. Right. So that was pretty much the feeling in there. They crowd going crazy. They did. Again, it was going to be an upset for them. Us would be an upset for them beating us. So they getting ready to rush the field. Now, we wasn't ranked number one, but they rushing the field like they beating number one right now at this point. So all the guys down there on the field, going back out, but previous to the actual pass of the Bluegrass Miracle, we actually started from the one. I know you said a walk. We actually started from the one, and we had to go 99 yards with only a few seconds left on that clock. But again, I will say this: these are some things that we did prepare for. Not that exact situation, but we always prepared. And Nick Saban always had us prepared for pretty much every situation that could possibly pretty much happen in the game. We were going to be ready for it. So we knew. We had one timeout left. We knew that we needed to get the ball down the field as quickly as we can, get, saving the time on the clock. So we ended up hitting Michael Clayton on that first play right across the middle. And he knew instantly, as you can see, makes the catch and jumps up and hollers timeout immediately, leaving those 3 seconds left on the clock. So going to the sideline, we already pretty much knew what the play was going to be, because, again, we run these plays every week. So you can hear Coach Fisher saying the play, dash right 93 Berlin. We already knew what it was, so we knew that was the play we were going to be calling. We were going to throw it down. Let's see if we can get a shot at what it was. Now, normally these plays happen a little bit closer to the end zone. Now, we normally around the 50 or 60 when we want to take this shot, but that's where we were. So we run back out there, and we get ready to line up, and just. Previous to the ball being snapped, I'm looking all around. I see they all on our sideline. They all on their sidelines. I'm looking all the way down the field. They hanging from the goalposts already. I'm seeing people on the goalpost, literally, like they already climbing the goalpost down there. So the ball snaps, I rolls out, and giving those guys time to get downfield as far as they could, and basically launching it at Michael Clayton, because he was always our big time jump up tip guy that we normally do. And as you see, he jumps up. He gonna tell you he tipped it. I'm gonna say he tipped it, but it actually kind of go right over his fingertip, but just enough to blind those guys from Kentucky, just enough for them to tip it actually, and Devery Henderson to be right where he needed to be to make the catch and be able to run it right on in the end zone. Actually, I vaguely saw the catch, but never saw him actually running into the end zone. And then I see my whole sideline just clear and running. And I said, "Oh, he must have caught it." He must have caught it. And that's when you saw the big celebration. A fun fact there, right before I actually realized that it was actually all the way going on, it's a guy rushing me, and you could probably see it in some of the pictures. He rushing on, and he got a suit on. He running right up to me, I guess to taunt me, like they beat me. And then finally realized, too, as I'm realizing,
yes,
no, y'all just lost.
That's awesome. So, Marcus,
Right.
I do have to ask you, with the fans being on the sideline, when you guys walked into the end zone and scored, Was it like a pin dropped in there, or were they still going nuts?
Some of them was still going nuts, not even realizing what actually happened. Because as I rolled out, it was only 3 seconds left. So you know the clock gonna still go 0-0. So as I rolled out before, or right as I was throwing it, or right before I threw it, you could hear the clock go bump, and then the fireworks start to shoot. So I don't think they realized a lot of them. I mean, I guess a few of them did. Like I said, that guy, I guess he saw me celebrate. He was like, whoa, wait. And I think that's when you started to hear it really wasn't a pin drop, but that's when you started to see all of their fans that was actually running to the field, start to running back off the field, and some of them just falling down to the ground and, grabbing their heads like, oh my God. Basically, I guess they had that feeling in reverse.
So, Marcus, what do you remember about Coach Saban's message to you guys in the locker room about that play? Because I know his message to you guys was epic.
To tell you the truth, and I've been asked that a few times, I don't even know if we had a big post-game message after that one. Everybody was still going so so crazy and excited, and some of the fans obviously that came down from Louisiana that were there, they ended up coming down, and man, it was like I said, I don't even remember the post game speech after that.
But I remember what he said on the broadcast, and he goes, "I really don't think we should have won this game."
That's why they do, I guess. But it was a lucky play. But our players played hard in the game. I mean, I don't know what to say. I feel bad for Kentucky's players, but hey, this is a big moment for us, and I'm happy as heck for our team. We didn't play very well in the second half, so we got to get some things fixed. That's for sure.
I could believe that. Now that's kind of guy, So no, going in now, I can tell you, going into the next week now, that was pretty much, hey, we need to get back locked in. That was one that we got, but that wasn't one. That was not the kind of game that we were looking to have. We were supposed to beat Kentucky pretty handily going into that game. So he was coming back with it on his mind, of preparation and being able to, obviously we're gonna take in the win, but we don't need to make it that close.
So Marcus, later that same season, you came off the bench versus arch rival Ole Miss and led the Tigers to a 14-13 win. What do you remember most about that win versus Ole Miss?
That was a big game for us. Like you said, that's a rivalry game. That's when I think that was Eli Manning's junior year. So that year prior to that, it was a great game that we played against them. So we definitely wanted to have that win. We was coming off of a loss to Alabama at home. So we definitely needed to bounce back if we wanted to have a chance any chance to be able to win the West that year. And it was a big game for us. So actually, Rick Clausen got to start that game. Coach had already told me to, stay ready and be ready because I would be getting into the game. And once that happened, I knew that we had to go. We were losing the game at the time, but we definitely need to make some plays. So being able to get in there and play, and actually being named offensive SEC for that week, man, that was a big honor. We needed that game. Now we didn't end up going to win the West, but because we lost to Arkansas pretty much on a reverse. but that was a big game to set us up for that game.
So Marcus, hold that thought. We are up against yet another break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the national championship season of 2003. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to The Stingray Show. I will be right back. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. My guest this evening is Marcus Randall, the former LSU quarterback who won a BCS national champion under head coach Nick Saban in 2003. And before we get to that season, to finish off the 2002 season, LSU played Texas in the Cotton Bowl. What was that experience like of playing Texas in the Cotton Bowl?
That was a great experience. That was a great week. Cotton Bowl did a great job of hosting us down there with great hospitality, having a chance to be a part of that legendary bowl. That was big for us. That was big for our whole team and for us as a whole, coming off of the SEC championship the year before, to being able to be back into a big time bowl game. It was like that was a big thing for us to being able to do. Now, Texas had some firepower. Man, they had some firepower. They had Phil Simms, they had Roy Williams. So after my first half, I thought I had a pretty good first half. Maybe went into halftime with some good momentum. And then I ended up cramping up in that game a lot, man. I started to cramp. I don't know if it was I don't know what it was during out the week that in that second half, it just felt like my calves and everything just started cramping up bad. But being able to compete and playing in that bowl game, I think it was one of the biggest things that we was able to do.
So Marcus, now let's talk about the national championship season in 2003. When did you personally know that team was going to be special?
Well, I think everything that we went through 2002, being able to have a lot of big wins that season. Again, beating Florida, beating Ole Miss at home, dropping one to Alabama, but knowing that we needed to come back and being able to what things we needed to fix there. I think that at that time, going into that off season, into spring ball and into the summer, all the guys came back. And we had a lot of veteran guys coming back, man, all across the board. If you go and just look at that roster, especially those starters, man, we had guys, arguably one of the best offensive lines that year in the country. And then our skill players, man, we were playing at a very high level at that time. So I know once we started that season and we started to roll, and then beating Georgia, when we beat Georgia at home, and at that time, Georgia was one of those juggernauts. When we beat Georgia at home, that let us know that, oh, man, we one of the best teams in the country for sure.
Yes. So, Marcus, one of the early games for you guys in 2003, LSU took a trip out west to take on Arizona in Tucson. What was that experience like of playing Arizona out in the desert?
Oh, that was a good trip for us. Those are one of those teams that you very seldomly play. That was one of the places that I had never been. I had never been. So the atmosphere out there, the air was a little bit different. Just being up in Arizona, just as a whole, gave us a great experience as just people. Being able to go down there and see that. And then, like you say, playing against Arizona is a team that we normally don't play. So getting a chance to see another style of team, I think that also helped us, catapult us on to what we did for the rest of the season.
So now let's move to the national championship game versus Oklahoma. Talk about the hype and the buildup to that game of playing there in your backyard of New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl for the national championship?
Just like you just said, playing it, being in the national championship is obviously great, and it's once in a lifetime for most people, or if they ever get that kind of chance. But to be able to do it in your own backyard, in front of your own fans, that was a great feeling. That was one of the better feelings that I've had since I was at LSU. Winning the national championship again. That was the thing that I went into LSU for. That was me and a group of the guys that we came there together. That was a lot of things that we spoke about wanting to win a national championship. A lot of people thought it was far-fetched, again, from the prior years that LSU had prior to that. But being able to put ourselves in that seat and being able to go play for a national championship, man, that was big. When Coach actually called us into the locker room, that was our big meeting room. We didn't know what we were going in there for. Again, he always preached, next game, one game at a time. And at that time, we knew we were good. And we had been playing some great ball, but we never had championship really on our mind. We were basically just going out every game, just going play, and then we look up, and now we in the championship game. I remember calling us in and basically telling us that we was getting the bid to go play in the BCS national championship game, because a lot of people thought that it should have been Oklahoma USC. So we ended up. So when we got that bid, man, we was elated, man. Everybody went kind of crazy in the locker room, and we knew we had done what we came, and we was able to check a box that we knew was at the top of that list when we signed there as freshmen.
So, talk about going up against Oklahoma in that matchup, because Oklahoma was coming in the juggernaut, and everybody called them the better team that year.
Yeah, well, we heard that the whole week, and I think we used that as a lot of fuel power. Saban had those things kind of posted up everywhere. Everybody didn't think we deserved to even be there. Like I just said, they thought it should have been, Matt Leinart and them over there with the USC and all those guys, Reggie Bush and all those guys. But so we used that as fuel, being able to go in again. Oklahoma had pretty much every award winner you could have. They had the Heisman Trophy winner, they had the Biletnikoff winner, they had the linebacker Lehman was over there. They had Big Tommy Harris on the D line. They had won the D line award. Mark Clayton, Derek Strait, they had won the defensive back award. They had every award winner on their team, and like you say, they came in as the juggernaut and as the team to beat, and had them picked to win the game. So we knew we had to go out. We was in our backyard again, and we played with a lot of pride. And that whole year, though, we were such a tight-knit group. And we had a saying, it was a band of brothers, and we made that saying before the season. And that's how we always played. We always played for the man next to us, and we already knew that even if they have all these guys, man, I don't think they could beat us as a team. And that's how we came out there with it. I think our offensive line dominated. We ran the ball like no other, and then we was able to play defense too. And I think we came in, punched them in the mouth, shocked them early. Corey Webster got an interception there early, got that momentum, and then we just kind of built off of it from that point on.
So Marcus Randall is my guest this evening, the former LSU quarterback. We are talking there about the national championship game there in 2003 versus Oklahoma. And Marcus, let's move to your senior season in 2004. LSU went 9-3. What are some of the highlights that you look back on that season now, your senior season at LSU?
I look back on it, and basically we was able to carry on and keep that winning tradition going on into that senior year. I actually spent a little time with Marcus Russell, which was another big-time quarterback that had just came out, ended up being the number 1 draft pick. So being able to play around guys like that in that senior year, knowing that we were leaving it in great hands, moving forward. And then, but we also had a goal to go back and repeat. We fell a little short when we went to Auburn. We actually played against Jason Campbell, my guy. And losing that game right there, the way we lost it, man, right there at the end, And those guys, they actually went on to win the West and went 14-0. But man, I think we still ended the season great, 9-3. Came up a little short against Iowa there with a last-minute pass on us, so we didn't actually win the bowl game there. But we had another great bowl game that we went to. So I had a chance to play in a big bowl game every year I was there. Again, those were the goals. So being able to lead my senior year, I think I had a lot of great memories. I didn't feel like anything short of me at my time at LSU, and I think we accomplished a whole bunch as a group.
So, Marcus, to wrap up your LSU career and talk, what game at LSU that you played in meant the most to you and why?
Meant the most. You talking about after it was over, or you talking about going into it? Like that game?
After it was over.
I would have to say the Bluegrass Miracle just because of what it is, that Kentucky game. But then, right behind that or right even with that is the national championship game. Being able to do that because those were one of the goals that we set going in, and being able to accomplish those things for LSU and them and us not being able to win a championships in 52-53, man, that was a big. I would say one of my better games, I would have to top it off, would probably be Arkansas my senior year. Being able to throw for 2 touchdowns, run for 2 touchdowns, I felt like I could do no wrong in that game right there.
So, Marcus, let's move to the NFL. You were picked up by the Tennessee Titans. However, the Titans wanted to make you change to the other side of the ball. What ultimately made you decide to give up playing quarterback for safety and linebacker?
Going there, I was actually a quarterback, so I was in there. I was actually there with Jason White, Gino Gamaluka from Cincinnati, and Shane Boyd that actually came from Kentucky. So we actually had 4 rookie quarterbacks that was in there at the time. And I remember them calling me in and basically saying, "Look, we're not going to keep any third-string quarterback at this time, but you are up there, and we definitely want to keep you around. We like your athleticism. Would you be willing to move to another position?" And at that time, after talking with coach and kind of seeing how they wanted to use me and what were the things that they were thinking, me and my agent at the time got together and we made the decision that I was going to go ahead, try the safety move and go in there. And actually, as I got in and started getting comfortable with it, they basically said, "Oh, you're gonna make the team." And I started off playing a lot of special teams and stuff like that. But that ultimately led to me making the move.
Yes. So, Marcus, how difficult was it for you to go from quarterback to safety?
Basically, learning the new coverages. I mean, learning the coverage because as a quarterback, I was able to read these coverages, and I knew what my mindset was on reading them on the other side. But then actually getting onto the defensive side and running these coverages and understanding the terminology that they were using and the reads that they were actually going off. I was like, "Well, okay, they're not just dropping into a zone; they're actually reading people." So being able to pick up some of those things, which is at this time, it made me a better coach. It made me more aware about the game and just made me all the way around a better coach and mentor for the game. But those were some of the adjustments I had to make. I think the physicality, I was used to it. Like I said, I didn't start playing quarterback till my junior year in high school. Growing up, I played multiple positions all the way through it. So I know that led to me being able to make that transition too, just a little bit easier as well. So those were some of the things that I had. But after I got over there and started doing it, 2 or 3 weeks, I was right in the groove of it.
So, Marcus, I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. The first one, what was the loudest away stadium that you ever played in, college and in the NFL?
It would have to be a toss-up, Florida, Auburn. In the NFL, I would have to say Atlanta. It was in the dome.
Man, I bet that was loud.
Yeah.
But why do you say Florida and Auburn? Can you explain a little bit?
Those were some of the loudest stadiums that I played in. Fans a little more rowdier. um, that's what I took away from those games.
Okay. Which defense gave you the most fits as a quarterback in the SEC?
Auburn by far.
Okay. And what year? Do you remember?
I'm gonna say the 2002 year. That was probably my worst game I ever played as a football player. I ended up throwing 4 interceptions that game, but they had some guys on that team, and you didn't know it at the time. But I mean, I knew it when we went there to play. Carlos Dansby, Junior Rose Green, Carlos Rogers. Now you had guys all over that field, and they gave me fits. They gave me some fits, and that was my second start. So coming off that South Carolina, my second start in Auburn.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Now,
All right. Who talked the most trash to you?
Carlos Rogers.
Really?
He talked the whole game, man, and to everybody out there.
Right. What were some of the things that he would say? Can you share some?
Man, he was just, hey, quarterback, throw it over here, man. Hey, look, I'm telling you, man, throw it over here. You're gonna get something. And I see him talking to my wide out. Hey, man, y'all need to get this young man right here, man. He was talking that my senior year, so he talked trash to me almost every year. But so my sophomore year he was talking, my senior year he was talking. We had Early Doucette. He was a freshman at the time, wide receiver. Man, y'all better get this young buck, man. He must don't know who I am. Man, he talking all the whole game.
Yeah. All right. So while you were the quarterback at LSU, who was your favorite receiver to throw to and why?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot right there. I hope everybody don't see this, man. I had a lot of good receivers. A lot of good receivers, man. We'll say that. I'll say Michael Clayton. I'll go with Michael Clayton, and I think Devery Henderson will be a close second, and I got to throw Skylar Green in there. But Michael Clayton, man, he was a big-time guy that made big plays, and he was going to make those plays again. And Devery Henderson, he put it up there, he's going to get it. So them two guys at the top right there.
So, Marcus, I have thoroughly enjoyed this interview with you. My final question for you. We all know how fiery and, just mad Coach Nick Saban can get. Did Coach Saban ever bless you out like he does during a game or in practice? What is your favorite Nick Saban story?
Oh, nobody is immune to getting that, man. Everybody gonna get blessed. Anybody can get that. That one thing I will say, anybody could get it. So no, I was not immune to getting it. I will say this. This is and I got a couple of. But I give you one. We playing the Citadel. We playing the Citadel, 2002. Man, I just drove the ball all the way down the field. I tucked it, ran it, got about 15 yards, and we close to the end zone. I could see the end zone, and a guy come down. So I'm just coming off that surgery that we talked about, that ACL. And a guy comes, looked like he's going right for that knee, and I kind of brace up as he coming, and he gets his hat right on the ball, and the ball pops up in the air, and we lose the ball there. So, man, that felt like the longest run back to the sideline. So I'm running. I could see he walking almost out trying to meet me, and I'm trying to go to the sideline up. And he, come here, you. I need to talk to you right now, man. See you out there worried about your knee. The people that told you that your knee all right, man. You worried about your knee? Play football. So he might have said a few more words than that, but hey, that was the gist of it. So again, we got a few of those, but he coached you hard, and that was what we actually needed though as a group. We needed that, and as you see, he was able to take that blueprint on to Alabama and be who he is today.
So Marcus, is that your favorite Nick Saban story of all time?
Oh man, I don't know of all time. Like I say, man, I was there some years, man. I heard it been some good stories. I get another one. We was in practice and we And Nick Saban, he was a defensive guy. So, I mean, he mainly dealt with defense. Coach Jimbo Fisher was pretty much like the head coach of the offense at this time. So we used to go in battles in practice. Those were some of our better battles, too, in practice. We had some battles. So we going through 7-on-7, and we doing red zone at this time. And I'm throwing it. I just throw a touchdown. Boom. Jimbo Fisher walks over to me now. I hope I can tell him this. He walk over. Oh, man, great throw. Marcus, great throw. And I'm like, all right, I appreciate it, coach. Man, it wasn't a great throw, coach. Man, he back there patting the ball. He held the ball on. That was going to be a sack. Man, that was going to be a sack. And Jimbo Fisher around. Yeah, coach, Marcus, you can't hold the ball that long. I was like, damn, okay, man, all right. But yeah, Saban, like you say, he'll anytime he feel like it's not going the way it should be, he'll gonna let you know.
Yes. So, Marcus, look, man, I have thoroughly enjoyed this interview with you. The floor is all yours for anything else that you would like to say to the LSU Nation. The floor is yours.
Again, man, I love the LSU Nation. I'm here. I'm from Baton Rouge, though, so I've been a part of this nation all my life. This is not just a decision I made just to go to school. Man, I appreciate everything and all the love that they show and still show to this point on. And I wouldn't change nothing that I ever did. And the decision that I made on going to LSU and staying home and wearing that purple and gold, man. So again, I just like to thank all the fans, all the people that supported us, all of the fans that's in the foundation, people that, basically poured into us, and not just football and not just the football side of it, just who we are as a person, man. A lot of guys came through there, especially during my era and after, that was able to go on and have great lives to this day.
Yes. So, Marcus, as we head out the door, how many times a year are you asked about the Bluegrass Miracle?
Oh, man, if I had to guess, I mean, how many days they got in a year? 365?
Yes.
Man, it's over that. Because
Right.
I get asked about that sometimes 3 and 4 times a day. So I'm a coach and I'm an educator. So I'm around kids. So a lot of times kids, they don't, obviously they wasn't born when I was playing. Some of them don't know all about the Bluegrass Miracle. But as they go home and tell their parents who they dean of students is and who's at their school, and their parents bring it up, and then they come back, Coach Randall, I heard about you. I heard about the Bluegrass Miracle. And then they pull it up on their phone or whatever. So I'm getting stories like that all throughout the day. Parents that, come up to me that know. And again, I'm back in Baton Rouge. So everybody, know who I am, from playing here and growing up here. So I get those stories all the time.
So, Marcus, look, man, thank you as always. This has been a blast, and I will definitely reach out to you again during the football season this fall so that we can break down a little bit of LSU football.
Let's do it. I'm looking to a great season right here, man. We got our guys back, and they look like we did a great job in the transfer portal. We got I know he got to be a Heisman Trophy candidate coming back, and quarterback, Nuss Mile, and we're gonna be ready to roll, baby.
Yes. And Marcus, before we get to that, those Bat Tigers, man, of the baseball team, they're looking pretty good right now. So good luck to LSU baseball.
Yes, sir.
And we will definitely catch up with you later on.
Appreciate you, Stephen, for having me, man, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right.
This has been
Man.
fantastic.
Yes, sir.
So that was Marcus Randall, the former LSU quarterback. Really do want to thank him for joining us tomorrow evening on the Stingray Show. We will be joining you guys late because Alabama baseball is in Huntsville taking on North Alabama. That game starts at 6 o'clock, so about 9:30 after Alabama baseball, we will have another show. We will have another show at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. So, late show tomorrow night and back to our normal time slot on Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow evening after Alabama, North Alabama baseball.